So let's move to today. What times we're living in today? We just had the election, and I know you were on Tucker and a few different shows, and you expressed your support for Trump. And obviously, the election happens. Now we have a Biden as the president-elect. That many say. Time Magazine just came out last week calling him president of the United States, number 46. Cover of Time Magazine. They did a special. And right now they're going through a lot of different issues. And Sidney Powell, Giuliani, the lawyers are doing their part to see what's going to happen with Michigan. How do you feel about what's gone on with the election the last few weeks?
So just as an intro, as you mentioned, 33 years and, why I'm speaking out now on the US elections. I came out publicly about 2 months ago, a bit over 2 months ago, and it was really important for me to state my beliefs in terms of why President Trump is such a great president and why we absolutely need 4 more years. And I knew I was going to get an immediate platform simply because of the name that I carry, and knowing myself and my character, I know that if I didn't speak up for what I believe, I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror, because we really are at a crucial moment in time where, it's the tipping point and Western civilization hangs in the ballot, right? And for me, President Trump is the man of the hour that can, keep us on the right direction towards preserving our Western values and our Western ideals and our way of life and our freedoms, right? So this is why I decided to speak up ahead of the elections, and specifically on the elections. And so coming back to today, we're the 18th of November, and 2 weeks has gone by since the elections. It's astounding to me that we are now speaking with world leaders, the mainstream media, the Biden camp itself, former politicians, former presidents who are still, working in the shadows, pushing this narrative that Joe Biden is president-elect. He is not. And here in Europe, everybody believes it, because they don't really know about, the US Constitution and the election process. And, they are being misled by the egregious gaslighting campaign of the mainstream media to believe this lie, when in fact, none of the states have certified the votes. And this is still very much a question, right? So Joe Biden, first of all, is not yet, or in my opinion, will not be president-elect. The proofs of fraud in so many states is rampant, and keeps coming and is overflowing. And until this is sorted out, we owe the American voter and America in general, the preservation of its constitution and of its electoral system. Who and why? It says a lot, that the Democrat Party is willing to just ram this train through on the tracks. I mean, it's in the interest of everyone, isn't it, to have fair and transparent elections? And if there is, indications of fraud, both camps should want to explore this, right? But it doesn't fit their narrative and their agenda, and the hypocrisy of it all, Patrick, looking at these people, whether it's, as I said, the politicians and, the oligarchs and the stakeholders in this, and the media and the journalists, the blue check Twitter people, who for 4 years undermined and questioned the legitimacy of the Trump presidency, now won't even give, for 4 years through bogus hoaxes that have been proven to be wrong, now won't even give the courtesy to the American voter of exploring these issues of fraud. It's, to me, this hypocrisy is quite sickening, to be frank.
Noor, why do you think 80 million people, according to AP, Associated Press, why do you think 80 million Americans voted for Biden and they disagree with you?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that number. That's the first thing. I mean, how are we supposed to believe that a man who was hiding in his basement for the whole year, who could barely gather, 50 people at rallies in concentric circles, compared to the images of these MAGA rallies that happened all across the country with floods of Trump supporters gathering to show, they are clearly behind the president and they clearly want for more years. And the numbers just don't add up. When you look at, you say 80 million, we're supposed to believe that this candidate garnered more votes than Hillary Clinton, than Obama, in the previous elections. And you add this, to all the other elements of the voting fraud that is emerging. And as you said, a bit earlier, there was the press conference today with Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, who is doing both are doing such an incredible job at exposing all of this, but also fighting so hard to preserve America and its democracy, right? And as I said, there are many numbers that don't add up. There are many practices, that don't add up. We know that Republicans, or the people who oversee the elections, weren't allowed in the rooms. There are affidavits of witnesses saying that voting ballots were tampered with. There's just and then the big one. The big question mark of all is what happened with these voting systems, Dominion voting system, Smartmatic, all of this. It smells really bad, Patrick.
Well,
And,
if it's fraud, if there is voter fraud, you have to trust the system to know that it's going to expose it. And if it's voter fraud, if Sidney Powell and Giuliani are the lawyers that they are, they're going to be able to get to it and reveal it. And if they do reveal it and we find out that there's voter fraud, Trump becomes president. If not, Biden is president. Let's
Absolutely.
assume they don't find anything. Let's assume they don't find anything. And let's assume Biden is president. What's your biggest concern about a Biden presidency?
So first of all, I have complete faith in this legal team. So I'm very optimistic. But the hypothetical that you're putting forward, I think it would be a disaster to have a Biden-Harris presidency, which in reality would be a third Obama term in all, logic. We know that, Obama is the first president who didn't leave Washington, I think, since Woodrow Wilson. It's normally common courtesy for outgoing presidents to leave Washington, D.C. And he is the first president in over just under 100 years who didn't do that. And when you look at his role and the role that he's played, in the past 4 years behind the scenes, most egregious of all with this Russia collusion hoax and what they did to Lieutenant General Flynn, you clearly have bad actors who for the past few years, but we can go even further back, but let's stick to the present, time frame. But you clearly have bad actors such as Barack Obama, who have been working very hard at undermining America's sovereignty and standing in the world the past few years. And looking, from afar, because I'm not in America, but observing all of this all play out. And, as you can see behind me, I have the Epoch Times brilliant Spygate poster, which I had blown up and put on my wall. And I encourage all of your viewers to go look at that. And also, if they want to understand really what transpired, with what they did to General Flynn and President Trump with this hoax. Everybody should watch the movie The Plot Against the President, which is brilliantly made.